Women hold about 50% of jobs here in North Carolina, which makes sense because women make up about 50% of the population. But when you get down to specific industries, things start to look really different. Women in North Carolina only make up 28% of our state's STEM force. Around the U.S., 18% of qualified sports coaches are women, and women make up only about 12% of the average police force across the country. Now, across the nation, and right here in Greensboro, police agencies are really pushing an initiative to increase the number of women officers in the line of duty. It's known as the 30 by 30 campaign, and the goal is to have women officers make up 30% of the force at all police agencies in the United States by the year 2030. Right now, women make up only 20% of Greensboro's police force. With still more work to do to reach that 30% threshold, Lieutenant Corey Flowers is leading the charge to make it happen.
The goal is always, as with any recruiting in a profession like this, to have the most diverse folks that's possible, right? Because just the more diversity of opinion and worldview and outlook and skill set, it's just most effective for us to police, serve, and protect the society.
Sergeant Angela Anderson is one of the many women on the force in Greensboro. You'll see her in a minute. She understands the demands of the job may be taxing, but says there is plenty of opportunity to grow and a decent work-balance life.
Because Greensboro is local, because it's really a family, it's built around families, and we definitely understand that's like the most important thing in your life is your family. It's actually a great career for somebody who is having a family or starting to grow a family, and it's a great community to do it in.
For women, or really anyone else interested in joining the Greensboro Police Department, they are hosting a job fair April 19th. You can find more information on WFNYnews2.com. Well, more than 50% of medical school students are women, but the gender gap still remains in some of the top specialties. For instance, only 88% are thoracic surgeons are women, and even fewer are women of color. Nora O'Donnell learned how physicians at one California hospital are trying to change the future of medicine.
Dr. Laura Scrimger had never met a female cardiothoracic surgeon until she met Dr. Amy Fiedler.
I think it's a real problem for women in medicine in all fields, but particularly in surgery.
Scrimger is a fellow working under Fiedler at UCSF Medical Center in California, and they are among just a handful of women in their field.
I get mistaken for a nurse, I get mistaken for a physical therapist, one time for food service. I mean, pretty much anything other than being the cardiac surgeon.
A recent study shows that women were 32% more likely to die if treated by a male surgeon rather than a female one. Men were also more likely to die in the hands of male surgeons.
Even just to have one person to look up to can make all the difference for some people.
They say getting more women in leadership at hospitals can lead to better family leave policies and more opportunities for female physicians. Patients can help by requesting female doctors.
We're thinking about and trying to figure out how we can get more women, get more people of color, get more diversity at the higher ends of academic leadership.
We need more women, we need more Black and brown people to come into medicine.
Dr. Charlene Blake was the cardiac anesthesiologist on this team that made history in December, believed to be the first all-female heart transplant team. Their group photo calling attention to the lack of diversity in medicine.
I had to look around the room. I was like, oh, we were. Look at that. We're all women here. This is incredible. I haven't seen this before.
Every single person in that room that day that we did that heart transplant deserved to be there and is a high performer and was providing the absolute best care to that patient. And I think that's really inspiring.
Breaking more barriers in the STEM field, the first mission to the moon in more than half a century is the first time a woman will be on a lunar crew. Christina Koch, an NC State graduate, was a member of the first 3 all-female spacewalks, and she's now headed to the moon and beyond.
I think the real thing to celebrate about this mission is that we've made a decision as an agency, as a country, that we are going to go for all and by all. If we're not taking contributions from every single person with the talent ready to share it, then we're not truly answering humanity's call to explore. So the fact that we're going in this era is what makes me most excited about this mission. And the fact that I might be able to inspire like those people that paved the path for me, that's just amazing icing on the cake.
The roughly 18 months of training for the Artemis II mission begins in June. The launch is expected to happen sometime in late 2024. Well, sticking to the skies, but a little closer to the Earth, airline Captain Mullis Ward is working to make sure that other women follow in her barrier-breaking path. She is the first Black woman to be a captain for a major U.S. airline, working with United.
People saw me in my flight suit and they were like, wait a minute, are you here for pilot training? I'm like, yes. They're like, we've never seen anyone like you. So that was the first time I had an awareness that this was something groundbreaking. My job was to make the road wider. And then the people behind me, the job is to make the road smoother. And so it should continue on and continue on until there are no more roads anyway. You know, and no one is talking about this because we've done it all.
Ward is a flight evaluator at United's Flight Training Center and helps recruit through the United Aviate Academy. The flight school plans to train at least 5,000 new pilots by 2030, with a goal of at least half of them being women or people of color. Well, moving to the gridiron to meet an NFL executive making her own history as she tackles the male-dominated sport.
Being a Raider is about as cool as it can get.
Not just cool, trailblazing. Sandra Douglas Morgan is president of the Las Vegas Raiders, the first Black woman to lead an NFL team, a job she's now held for 8 months.
Do you feel like you've had to prove yourself in a way that maybe your male counterparts haven't?
I felt like I had to prove myself to myself. I don't have to prove myself to others.
Douglas Morgan has long tackled barriers and broken through, becoming the first Black city attorney in Nevada. And in the male-dominated casino industry, chairing the Gaming Control Board, another first. Doing it all got her there.
I think we know as moms, you could pack a diaper bag, pack a lunch, have everything planned, and something is not going to go as planned. And I think those kind of skills definitely transfer into running a sports team or running an organization.
Douglas Morgan says she's proud to be a role model, but it's not enough.
Success for me would not be being the first Black female president of an NFL team, and there not being any others for the next 10 to 15 years. It's really, truly being able to open doors to allow other people to have the same opportunities and a seat at the table.
But you will soon have people that say it's because of you.
That would be a tremendous blessing.
And while there is work being done to close the gender gap in the workforce, women still make less than men in North Carolina and across the U.S. Women workers in North Carolina make 82 cents for every dollar that a man makes. In 2019, Governor Cooper issued an executive order banning state government agencies from using salary history in the hiring process. This year, Governor Cooper said there was still work to be done and asked folks to keep working to eliminate the gender wage gap.